Rio Grande K-27 locomotives were invented by Baldwin in April of 1903 and were numbers 450 to 464. They had worked on the narrow gauge Rio Grande lines from Alamosa, Durango, Farmington, and Silverton. Some of them even were yard helpers and would put trains together for other locomotives since the K-27's were smaller. Sadly, almost all the K-27's were scrapped when the Rio Grande Railway retired. But before the retirement, the strange thing is that they were numbered from 125 to K-27 in 1923. Let's find out what had happened to them after that. 450 was a good locomotive to a lot of drivers, but she was retired in 1933 and scrapped 1938, 32 years before the Rio Grande Railway ended. 451 was used for freight and passenger trains to and from Durango and Alamosa with the San Juan Express, and after she was retired in 1934 and scrapped 1939. 452 had also been working for passenger and freight in the San Juan Mountains and was retired in 1952 and scrapped in 1954. 455 was traded to the Rio Grande Southern Railway in 1940, had been rebuilt with standard gauge parts in 1947, and then scrapped by 1953. This had happened for all the 450s, but one is quite a strange story. One strange story is that between 1940 and 45 she had derailed on a freight trip. The driver's car jumped out in time, but the locomotive had fell on its side and took a year to repair. 460 had been retired by 1933 and scrapped in 1938. 461 was sold to the Rio Grande Southern in 1950 and scrapped in 1954. 462 had been retired in 1948 and scrapped in 1950, but luckily the tender is in storage at Chama, New Mexico, where the Cumbers and Toltec Scenic Railroad is today. 463 was retired by 1952 and given to Gene Autry in 1956. By 1971 she was brought to Antonito, Colorado for display and is the eastern end of Cumbers and Toltec. It was fully restored in 1994 and ran on the Cumbers Toltec, and then due to boiler problems, was taken out of service in 2002. Then she was restored to full condition in 2012. 464 was the last K-27 to be retired and was in 1963. She was placed on display in Durango soon after. Then by 1980 she was taken to the Huckleberry Railroad and restored.